What's up, everybody? My name is Ron Amos, and welcome back to Less Pressure Podcast. Today's special guest is a fellow creative and one of my favorite people, Christian Sosa.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming. I'm really excited to have you here. I really appreciate you as a person. We've known each other for five years.
Yes. I think
and
so.
You've seen me at my lowest.
Yes.
You've seen me at my lowest. I just really appreciate having you. So thank you for coming here.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the conversation. And yeah, so how are you? How you feeling? Are you excited?
Feeling good. Feeling a little nervous.
Yeah.
I think everybody probably feels some type of way about hearing their voice eventually. So
Yeah.
just knowing that that's gonna come in the near future is gonna be a little funky. But otherwise, I feel good.
Yeah.
You know, life is lifing, and it's been a wild ride. This
It has.
summer ending into fall into going into the winter and stuff. It's been
Good things.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's just been busy.
Yeah. I know, like, right before my little chaotic situation, I think you had a little bit of a situation as well.
Yes.
And does it feel like so long ago, or does it feel like something that, like, just recently happened?
It's weird because it's like it feels like it's been forever, and at the same time, I just got a call for like a follow-up appointment, and
Oh, really?
basically they were like, you're due for your yearly, and
Yearly?
yeah, which was a little funky to me because I was like, wait, hold on, what does that mean? Because that happened in January, right? And so I'm looking, and it's October now. What is that? 7 months, 8 months?
It's like eight-ish, 7, 8.
10, something like that.
Because
It's
October's 10.
Yeah, because it started in what,
8?
right?
I don't know. Not.
Months.
It's something like that. 8 or 9.
But so it's like, I remember them checking me out. What was it, like maybe a couple weeks after?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I mean, it was like the quickest. Good, obviously, everything was fine. So they were just like, you look great. See you in 6 months.
You look great.
You look great.
You look fine.
You look great. See you in 6 months.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
But everything's checked out. Everything's good.
Yeah. No,
Nothing
everything feels good. For, the people that are listening, I gave a kidney to my brother back in January. Mm-hmm. So that was what we were referring to. And yeah, just like, at this point, just kind of getting everything checked out, living life with one kidney is really no different than living with both.
Because I was going to ask you, I was like, can you feel it? Do you feel the difference? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel...
like, when I walk, I'm like...
You're like, oh, shit, my left side.
I really got to like balance myself because otherwise I fall. It's a constant, continuous battle. But no, everything feels the same. The only thing that I've noticed, like body-wise, like day-to-day stuff is I get more heartburn.
Heartburn.
Yes, and who knows? I mean, maybe that's an age thing, and it's just been like a matter of like, hey, you're getting older, and hot Cheetos at 10 p.m. are probably not the best idea. Not the best idea, but also, that wasn't an issue like before the transplant. Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess I'm attributing a little bit to it. Regardless, my body's probably got to like adjust, and it's still it's gonna take a minute for it to truly adjust to like, filtering everything out of just the one kidney versus both. Yeah. So. But other than that, everything feels good. It took me a while to get here, as obviously, like regaining everything the way that you had everything before. I mean, for me, it was like my core, like, and
never had one of those.
Well, there you go. It's just hard. I'm a dancer, like you mentioned before, and I do hip hop, I do contemporary, a little bit of ballet, Latin. Dancing as well, and I use a lot of my core for that. So just really regaining a lot of it and all the nuances of like, utilizing your entire core versus like at some point feeling like I was kind of compensating for my left side, so I was using my right side a little bit more. Like it's a weird like journey for sure, but I got there eventually.
Yeah. And how long was like the time off from dance that they gave you? Was it like 6 weeks?
It was 3 months, I believe.
3 months?
I think it was 3 months. I mean, what was it? Like a month or so after, it was when we had a competition for some of the kiddos that I teach, right? And that's when I asked you to drive me because I wasn't even cleared to drive yet at that point. And I want to say that was maybe, I don't know, like a week after the operation. I can't remember, honestly, right? It was very fresh. And so it was like, okay, like I need somebody to drive me. I'm not going to try to drive right now. But so we hit you up. And I think that's when you saw me. I was walking around feeling like I was very crunched the entire time because I was just afraid to like, stiff. I was afraid to like even just like stretch out because I was like, I don't know, like that just doesn't feel right to do that quite yet. But eventually, I think it was 3 months that at least I was 3 months off of work.
Now, why no driving though? Is it like if you push your foot, would like it hurt something?
I think it was just a matter of like, I mean,
or the arms,
and you just never know, like, are you gonna stop abruptly, randomly, and without even thinking about it? Like that's you using your core,
Yikes.
You know, and like, I mean, you'd want to be like upright, you want to be able to see everything versus like driving kind of crunched.
Facts.
So it was just a thing. Now that I'm mentioning it, I feel like 3 months sounds wrong, but something like that. It definitely.
No, I think it might have been three months.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're good now. So that's about. And you don't look like you gave anybody a kidney either. When you dance, I don't mean like I couldn't look at you until you gave a kidney. Like when you dance, you don't look any
How am
different.
I supposed to look? With just one
kidney. You look so off. I don't know what it is, but you look lighter. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. So going back a little bit, so you are a dancer. Mm-hmm. So when did you start doing that? Because I feel like for me, I started a little bit later in my life.
Yeah.
Were you like a kid?
No,
doing
actually,
spins and kicks and stuff.
I don't know if we've talked about this, before as well. But I didn't start dancing until I was in high school.
That's still kind of early though. I feel like.
Is it?
I feel
15?
like it's kind of early.
Okay.
Because some people are like, I started when I was like 21. Like a lot of people.
I see.
Yeah, a lot of people started.
Yeah,
later.
No, yeah, mine was high school. I remember around that time it was like ABDC was really big. Yeah. America's Best Dance. I mean, that was like, and so I started seeing that, and I always thought to myself like, I can do that. That seems pretty cool. That seems pretty easy. And obviously I had a huge connection with music. I love hip hop. R&B was like really big for me back then. So just honestly like seeing that, and there were even like a couple that I remember seeing like Latino groups on there. I can't even tell you what they are now, but like I just remember thinking like, man, like I just love like that connection, of being able to see music and dance and my heritage in there as well, and just like being able to see that on a stage on TV, like it did something really big for me. And ever since then, I got more interested in it. I had a friend who consistently every year did like a pep rally at my high school at Elgin High. So I joined forces with him, and joined forces with him. It was more so like, we kind of auditioned to be like a part of his piece that he was gonna do out for the pep rally, and he chose me. And it's ever since then it was like, I don't know, my dance journey feels very like chaotic. I feel like, because I started there, and from that pep rally I had a friend who was going to have a quinceañera coming up, like in the next 2 months or so. She saw me at the pep rally, came up to me and said like, hey, like, can you
scouted you.
She scouted me. She was literally in the audience and said, I like what you do. I want you at my party. And so I went to her party, and I literally just danced. I just danced like as if it was my party. Like, I don't, like, it wasn't with her. It wasn't any, they just said, can you do like a dance for my party? And I'm like, oh. Like,
did they pay you?
No, but I was a child, so I didn't really ask for money,
Okay.
But also, like, it felt like I was almost like a chambelan, which is like in quinceañera is like your court of honor type of situation. They can pick like their guy friends or their brothers or cousins. Sometimes they include girls in there too, but it's just the court of honor for them. And so I just kind of felt like she was like, can you be a chambelan, but like a different chambelan where like you just do your own dance type of thing. And then then there I eventually did that same dance at a different party for another quinceañera.
Fake.
And I know. Well, she didn't pay me. Remember? True. It's not hers. And so, but at that party, the DJ that was playing at that party also did quinceañeras, and so he hit me up after, and he was like, "Hey, that was really cool. Do you want to come work for me?"
Y'all like working together?
So it's me and this DJ that are working together, doing quinceañeras, and so I'm like out here choreographing, for quinceañeras at like 15 or 16. And
okay, so it's not just you and the DJ anymore. It's like he hits a button and you just start breaking it down. It's
pretty much.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Just about that, and I learned a little bit of the Latin dancing part of it, which is what he knew, so he knew a little bit of salsa, a little bit of bachata, and he taught me some basics there so that we could kind of tackle the world together of, quinceañeras type of thing. And I think from there, like, it just feels like everything got connected somehow, like eventually from him, like he did a quinceañera who also went to my school, and she took me to her studio where she also takes classes from, called Angel Dance Studio. And I met up with them, and eventually I started working for them. I was also a chambelán for them.
So where did the professional training come on? Because I didn't hear you say one time that
No.
I trained to learn. You just said I was at a pep rally. I did it, and then I was choreographing. So where did the
official training? As most like hip hop dancers would probably say, like, they were self-taught.
Not me.
Oh.
Not me.
Well, in the age of YouTube, you do what you can, and you look up these videos and you try. That was me, trying to look up all that stuff. And the formal training didn't really come until like I was an adult. Unfortunately / maybe fortunately, with the quinceañeras that I started doing at Angel, they did have some jazz training that they instilled in all of their dancers, but it wasn't like, it was more so like what they saw from jazz dance. So not to say that they weren't necessarily trained themselves, maybe they weren't, but what they taught us was kind of like secondhand training off of that. And regardless, to us, it was like, oh my gosh, like we're doing this over and over again, and just the amount of time that we put into it, regardless, like helped us become like dancers that had good endurance, that had good work ethic. It was like
professional.
Oh, for sure, yeah. At the end of the day, like, we were getting hired to do quinceañeras, so that's kind of where that led, and that studio director knew of somebody else, and we met up with her, who then we went on to her company, and then she started connecting us more closer to like the Chicago dance community, because she lived out here in Chicago, and she had more connections with people, and through her we also got connected to DLD in Downers Grove. Shout out DLD. And so it was just like everything just connected. It just felt like it kind of went from one thing to another to another to another. And I don't even know where I was going with this, because it's just it branches off into all these random things.
But it like kind of puts you where you are now, though. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So like, when it came to your family, what did they think about you doing these quinceañeras? Like, dancing and stuff. Was dancing your family at all?
Not like that.
No,
not like that necessarily. At the end of the day, my family is Mexican. They're very Mexican.
They are?
Yes. You're funny. So like, it wasn't shocking, that I was in quinceañeras. Like, it's just something that we do, So like, it was a little strange for them to see, like, oh, okay, wait, they hire you and you have like a quinceañera. You don't even know this girl and you're just gonna go dance at her party. Well, cool. You're getting paid, so that's dope. At the end of the day, for them, it was like, well, as long as you clean your room and lava los trastes and all this. It was like a whole thing, like, just make sure that you do what you got to do, like, school wise, and then it's not like, tripping you up everywhere else. Then like, do your thing. They saw that it made me happy, so they liked it. Yeah.
So do any of your siblings like kick their feet at all? No,
not at all.
You're the only one. How many siblings do you have?
I have 4 brothers.
You got 4 brothers?
4 brothers. Yeah, I'm the second of 5.
So it's all boys.
All 5 boys. Yes.
And you're the second oldest.
I am the second oldest.
How? Because look, so I'm like out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the second oldest, but there's 3 boys underneath me.
Okay.
So it's like 4 boys, 1 girl. We still got that little bit of feminine energy.
Yeah.
Amongst the siblings.
No, the feminine energy in my house was my mom.
So it's just all dudes.
It was just all dudes.
One house. That sounds
all
like
dudes.
fun though. Was it like?
We had,
a vibe?
I don't know if many can say that they distinctly can differentiate the taste of armpit.
Oh.
But I can. From the amount
what kind of armpits do you differentiate between like a?
There's
a sharp one?
There's a salty, very not clean.
I'm just trying
Some
to figure
might be
out which
more
one
clean.
you were.
Like I don't know what to tell you. Just we wrestled a lot, and sometimes
But which one were you amongst the different flavors?
I would hope that I was the cleaner, more degree deodorant smelling, tasting one. But I mean, I guess I'll have to ask my brothers to find out.
So I don't think I was any of those. But so taking it back a little bit because you got all these brothers. Were you like taking care of them or like doing any kind of like parental duties when it came to all these siblings?
No, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, like I think I speak for all of our like Latino community when we say that we are very much like very family based. So we just help each other out a lot, and people just kind of end up falling into some roles, maybe some more than others. I personally I really liked cooking and I really liked that in general. So like I ended up feeling like, okay, well here I can cook for you guys, or I can do something, or some of it might have been a little petty where it's like, you got that annoying little brother, you're making a sandwich, they come up to you and they're like, oh, that looks good. And I'm like, I know it looks good and it's for me.
Wow.
But it's like, yeah, well, I mean, you're already at it. So like, can you just make like sandwiches for everybody? And I'm like, I mean,
nah, because I'm with you on that one. Because a sandwich is easy. You can put some bread and some meat on.
The thing is that my sandwiches tasted the best, according to them.
So what you was putting on these sandwiches?
According to them, but I'm pretty sure that was just manipulation, for them to get me. They were like, the heat. You know what I mean? But like here, I felt validated. Like, yeah, you know what? I do make the best sandwiches, and so I'm gonna make you all sandwiches. So who knows? Actually, maybe my love for cooking came out of manipulation, and I'm just realizing it now.
That could have. That's a little bit traumatizing to the little boy.
Well, maybe I don't cook for you later. Then I don't know.
How old was he? Like, who's the youngest? How old is the youngest?
The youngest right now is 13.
13?
He's 13 years old, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's 13. And the oldest is...
So y'all didn't really grow up together, I feel like, then, right?
Not really, no. Like, it's weird because we kind of came in, like... It was, like, stages. So, like, my oldest brother, myself, and my brother, like, after me. So, like, us 3, we kind of all grew up together. And then after the third one, there was like 7-8 years of difference. So then mom popped out another one, and then after him was like another one like 4 years later. So it was like they kind of grew up with each other, and meanwhile we grew up with each other. If that makes any sense. Like,
that makes
it was like the 3 and the 2, But we were all still in the same house, so it was like.
Just different, like you weren't playing together, if that makes sense. Yeah, because for me, it was like I have a lot of siblings, but we're all like super, super close in age. Not all, because obviously we all can't be close, but like I think my sister's 30. How old is she? 27. She's 31.
Okay.
I'm 27. Then underneath me is the twins. They're both 25, and then underneath them is my youngest brother. He's 23.
Okay.
So all of us.
So it was almost like every 2 kind of
2 or 4
okay.
years. But for the most part, it was the only real 4-year gap is me and my sister.
Okay.
And everybody else was 2 years, and then 2 years and 2 years. So we really got that experience of like growing up. We pretty much raised each other.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
My parents were
you had a little
like,
posse of people that were just kind of growing up.
It was the best, worst thing ever growing up, because it's like you obviously. Every kid wants to be an only child when they have like a lot of siblings. So it's just like, I hate you, get out of my face, And at one point, I think me and my 3 brothers, we all shared a room together. Yep. So it was like 4 boys in one room, and all I wanted was to get the fuck away from them.
Right.
But at the same time, I was very grateful because it was like I always had somebody to hang out with. Or if we want to go outside and like throw the football around, we could all just go outside. We could literally go to the park and be like, let's play basketball, and we could all
you always had someone
play with each other.
Right.
So,
and when you get sick of one, you can just go to the other one.
Yeah, and that sucks. You said that as a joke, but that's how I am.
But it actually was true.
Day.
You know, I'm tired of you. I'm gonna go bother my other brother real quick.
And it's like whenever I get like into it with one of them, I'm just like, all right, don't talk to me for like 3 weeks. I'm hanging out with him now.
Facts.
And it's like we could just jump around.
Facts.
Like
and now it's like, whoa, we're out of like all of a sudden now me and you are like the best siblings.
Yeah.
When actually it was me and him back then.
Yeah. And I like to joke around. I'm like, yo, I kind of like raised all of you.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2 years is not a lot.
mean, you know. But. Yeah. No, I feel that. And so the youngest and the oldest for me, for my family there's a 20-year difference between the oldest
20
and the youngest. Yes. 20 years. A difference.
Wow.
So when my youngest brother is...
So how old is he? How old is the oldest?
He's 33.
Okay, that's not bad.
33.
I think he was like 45.
No.
That was like 20 years.
But like, no, it's like, it's not crazy, but then it's like, you go, okay, so when my youngest brother is 30, he'll be 50. Do you know what I mean? Like there's that. There's it feels like a jump eventually, maybe not right now because he's 33.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's a little difference, But do you feel like you played a big factor in their lives? Like would they say that like Christian is my, he pretty much, I don't want to say role model, but like, did you play that kind of role for like the younger ones? Because that is a big difference, to be honest with you.
Right. No, for sure. I mean, I think being in the older generation, regardless, you kind of get looked at a certain way, and you kind of get looked at, like, all right, you have to be more responsible, even if you are still like a child, like you're still older than the other one, so like you kind of have to like watch out for them and do things for them and teach them your ways. And it's like, teach them I'm learning my ways, like what do you mean? So it's like definitely you grow up quicker in a way, at least I think that's something that's a little not necessarily spoken about with the Latino community. And that's just, I'm talking about just having all boys, had there been a girl in the mix at any point, like whether she be younger or anything, she probably would have been looked at more like, well, you got to take care of him,
right.
Like because you're the girl.
So what do you feel like if you had a sister, the dynamic or balance would be?
She'd probably hate us.
She'd
probably very much hate us for her own personal reasons, but then also just the societal like attachments that would be ended up like putting on her, you know what I mean? Like they would expect her to be a certain way, and they would expect us to be a certain way. And I mean, I think that even without her ever being there, like, I mean, it was hard, because you have 5 boys who are all being told to not express their feelings.
Ooh.
So
talk about it.
So here we are, just a bunch of ooh, and it's like when someone gets mad, it's quite literally that. It's like, fuck you, but I'm not gonna say fuck you. I'm just gonna stop talking to you for 3 months.
So because that's how my family was, at least my siblings. Like there were periods in time where some of us would go like months without talking to each other. Yeah, and we'd be living in the same bedroom. Right. Just would not speak to each other. It was just the point sometimes where I wouldn't even realize. It was one point where one of my brothers didn't talk to my other brother for like 7 months when we were growing up one time, and like I did not realize until he told me. He's like, hey, I'm not talking. I'm like, I haven't talked to him since like May, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, I didn't even notice. The fact
that you didn't even notice, you were just like, wait, for real? Oh, is that okay?
Yeah, it's because like you spend so much time around each other. Like, how would I know he didn't just greet him when he walked in the room? You would know that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely it was a struggle in that aspect, to continuously fight like having these feelings but not knowing how to express them, And at the end of the day, like each one found their own way of coping. You know what I mean? Me personally, I feel like I was the kind that was like, because there was so many people around, there was at some point 3 boys, then it went to 4, then it went to 5, including then my parents, and we had grandparents, and then we have such a big family. Sometimes my uncles would come over, my aunts, my cousins, and like it would just feel very like chaotic, and to the point where like if there was ever like a misunderstanding or something, it was just like talking over each other. It was so much like overwhelm, at least that it felt like on me, and I felt like, not that I didn't feel like I had something to contribute, but I was like, I'm just gonna add to the fire right now, and it's like, and plus no one is listening anyway. Like everybody's just going, you know, and no one's really listening to each other. And I'm like, I feel like I would just waste my breath by doing that, which does me a disservice because then I'm not actually saying what I want to say. So I feel like I ended up developing like a coping mechanism of like staying quiet. For, you know, and it's like, it's like, oh, you know, and I think at some point that was even praised. Where it was like a matter of like, you know, like, why are you guys arguing? Like, look at Christian. Like he never argues. He's always, you know, just sitting back, and he's calm, and he's da-da-da. And meanwhile, I'm like frustrated the entire time because I want to say things, and I feel like if I say them, like no one's going to care, you know?
Do you still feel like that sometimes? I'm
learning to express my feelings without it feeling, because I think, well, how can I explain it? The feelings come out from them when, like, I think a lot of them develop that same, you know, like, let's keep it to ourselves type of situation until they can't anymore. Like, literally the bottle is to the brim, and so then they explode. And so I'm trying to figure out a way where I can express my feelings without it coming from I'm at my brim and I'm about to explode on everyone. You know, like there's a healthy way to do it, and exploding on someone isn't necessarily gonna help anyone. You know, I mean, maybe it'll help me like let some things out, but like at the cost of what? You know, yelling at somebody or making them feel bad, or
so you say it's like just working on communication skills? Yeah,
I mean, really, it really is that. It's communication skills. Working on that, you know, through therapy, and I feel like it's gotten a lot better.
So you are a therapy boy.
I am a therapy boy.
We love that.
I started it out honestly like because of the kidney transplant. I mean, it's a big decision, really, you know, and that was the main reason why I started it. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? Hold on, like aside,
I like this.
Apart from like the kidney stuff, you know, and like giving an organ to a sibling, like I could actually really benefit from all the other things that you're helping me with. So like, I'm gonna just stick with you real quick because you got some nice things to say.
Right. So, how many months have you been in therapy?
I started, I want to say before the kidney transplant, I had been in therapy for a year.
Oh, so you ain't new to this. You've been around for a minute.
Yeah, no, I've been around for a minute. So I did that for like a whole year, and then that happened in January. So I'm about to come up on 2 years. 2 years of it.
So did you find that, so did you get the therapy because you knew you were going to have to do the kidney thing?
I got the therapist because I wasn't sure if I wanted to.
Oh.
And it was like a matter of like, I have a lot of, you know, conflicting thoughts, and I want somebody to help guide me, not to tell me like what I should do, but like to help guide me on like, okay, well, what are your feelings? Yeah. How do you want to go about this? And yeah, that definitely helped. I mean, eventually I did it, so you know, I feel good about it. Yeah,
I'm glad you did though, because like that's a big thing, and especially like obviously that there's a lot of you guys, so somebody's got to do it, you know?
Right.
So like, to be the one that says I'll do it is like takes a lot from one person.
And exactly that, you know, that was one of the where it's like, you know, here's this issue, and so everybody just starts kind of looking around. They're like, all right, so who's no goes, you know, like type of situation, and so we're trying to figure out, and I think that there was some pressure there, you know, at some point, not like direct, like, hey, yo, so you gonna do it?
You gonna drop that kidney?
Yo, let me get that kidney. Like, it never felt like that, you know. They were very like respectful of my privacy and everything, but at the end of the day, like the situation was still there, you know. And so that was the main reason why I wanted to go through therapy, because I'm like, if I want to go through with this, I want to do it because it's what I want to do, and not because I feel pressured to do it. Right. You know what I mean? Or not because it's like, well, it's obvious that Christian's gonna do it. So you know, like I really wanted it to be something that I wanted to do for him and for myself, and that's where therapy came in, and it led me to that.
Nice. So starting off with therapy, like, did you find that it took you a little while to open up to the therapist, or you just like sat down and was ready to go and just talk about it?
I feel like I was quick with it, but definitely the first month or so, I was just kind of like, I mean, I don't know you, you know? I definitely did some research before, and I remember specifically thinking to myself, I'm like, there's just a lot of dynamics, you know, kind of like what I'm speaking about now with like the Latino community, and just a lot of the societal stuff, and on top of that, the kidney stuff. So that's a lot for a therapist to digest, you know. And I remember feeling, I'm like, it's gonna be a lot easier if they are Latinx themselves, you know. That way, I feel like I don't have to explain as much of the societal and cultural things to them. And I felt more comfortable with it being a woman.
Really?
Yeah. I think because I grew up with so many male presenting figures, and to me, male presenting figures meant closed off.
Right.
I think that's why I identified more with it, and I'm like, I'm going to feel more open to talking about this kind of stuff to a woman.
Interesting, because I didn't really get to choose my therapist.
Yeah.
I mean, but I did get to choose whether it was a man or a woman. And I just went to man for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I was just like, give me a guy, he'll understand.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you know. And so that's why I went with the guy. But now I've been with my therapist for 4 years, and now I'm kind of like, I don't wish or regret anything about having him, because he's great, he's amazing. But I do sometimes think like, man, like, I feel like a woman therapist would have so much of a different, like, nurturing type of insight that I could probably use, you know, because coming from your same situation, I came from a house full of dudes, you know, and my sister's not a dude, but she's definitely like, she grew up with all boys, so she's a little bit more, you know, tougher, you know. So I don't know. Maybe I could have benefited from having.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing on my end. Like, how much would I have achieved, or what would have happened if I would have gone with a male presenting therapist instead? You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
But it's a great experience. You feel like it's helping you with all the emotional and everything, because like, just like you were saying, as a guy, it's really not put into you at all to be emotional, vulnerable, like any of those things.
Right.
And I do feel like you have like a softer side to you. So like, where did you get that from?
I think that was in me all along, and without there being growing up, I felt like I was a little bit more flamboyant. Even, you know, and I felt like I had more of this like softer, almost feminine side to me, you know. And so growing up, as you know, probably in a house full of dudes, that leads to some questions. A lot of the times it was like, you know, is homeboy gay? Is he, you know, he likes to dance too? Like, like there's questions, you know, and whether I mean, it sounds so ridiculous now, I think, in this day and age, but like, you know, back in 1990, blah blah blah. It was definitely a lot more, you know, questionable. And but so that part was always in me, I feel, you know, and to have to not know what to do with that, because I was constantly told to not express my feelings. I was constantly told that, you know, don't cry, like men don't cry, you know, like that type of situation. I just didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
And that led to a lot of, I think, like internal conflict, you know, and almost like questioning like who I was. I feel
because of other people.
So it's like, don't do this. Don't be soft, you know. Don't be this. And it's like, but that's kind of who I am, you know. It's a part of me, you know. So like, you're telling me to not be a part of me. So then, who am I?
Ooh, interesting.
It's you know, and like all of that is just happening within this like child, and like so.
That's really interesting. And crazy enough, in my family, I feel like it was an interesting dynamic, because I feel like no one in my family was very like emotional. Like no one was affectionate, no one was emotional. But I feel like all of me and all of my brothers, we all had softer sides to us. So there was no like, oh, I mean, maybe when we started getting like in high school and the testosterone was going crazy and we were trying to like fuck each other up and shit like that.
Right.
But like growing up, like being young kids, we were all like some soft little boys. Like we were super soft. And then when we got older, you know, we got a little aggressive, but that was more
you toughen up, right?
Yeah, towards each other, and we would like get into like a lot of fights and stuff with each other, and you know, try to see who could be the toughest and shit like that.
Right.
But for the most part, I think that when we were younger, it wasn't too much of that like pressure on anybody to be like the manly man. But do you feel like toxic masculinity had any play on what you were going through?
100%, 100%. And in Spanish we call it machismo.
Right.
And it can be very toxic. You know, it very much puts men in a box.
Yeah.
And you're expected to do this. You're expected to do this. And not only that, but you're also expected to then treat other people a certain way, specifically women.
Oh.
You're meant to, you know, to get your wife, and you're meant to have your wife cook, and your wife is supposed to cater to you because you work all day, and because of this and because of that. And I mean, it's like a, you know, tale as old as time, and it's just, you know, that's not gonna work. And you know, I was already breaking that barrier by, it's like, wait, hold on, but actually I'm the one that likes to cook.
Right.
So like, not to say that she doesn't have to, but actually she kind of doesn't have to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind cooking. I like it. You know, I like cleaning. You know, I like feeling organized and stuff. And like, those are all things that machismo is basically telling you, like, yeah, but you don't have to be. You know, like you can be, or better yet, you have to be like more rugged. You have to be more aggressive. You know, that's what a man is. You know, so yeah, that definitely played a huge role.
So you were the second oldest. So where is this energy coming from?
I think whether, you know, and it's not to say that like my parents directly, but it's just like it's
in the culture.
It's in the culture. It's what they grew up on. You know, it's what their parents grew up on. It's what their parents grew up on. I mean, I'm talking about like centuries and centuries of this being, you know, put into play. You know, so like it trickles down the generations, and here it is, and it kind of met up with me. But now, in this like more, you know, advanced, I think more like mentally aware society, we're very much challenging that a lot. And I think even now, you know, like, not to say that I'm like reversing a lot of things, but like, so here we are, all these grown men now, you know, for the most part, at least these first 3, almost 4 boys that are now in the world trying to cope the way that they did as kids, and that's just not going to work, because as kids we were told to not express anything. So like, as an adult, like, how are you going to do that? You know, how are you going to go out into the world? How are you going to succeed in relationships? How are you going to, you know, do all these things? And so I feel like I'm dissecting that a little bit, and I'm, you know, not to be then their therapist for my brothers or for my family, but I can help, like, at least guide them in the direction of like, hey, like, you know, maybe what you're doing right now isn't like the best for you. You know, maybe we can change that a little bit.
Yeah, like it's all about breaking those cycles, I feel like. And I was pretty much mostly raised by women. So I don't really feel like I got too much toxic masculine. I mean, I would catch it here and there from maybe a family member or somebody, but like, my sister pretty much watched me every day after school. I seen her the most out of anybody, and she was always in charge. So I would wake up, go to my grandma's house, and go to school from her house. So I'm either with my sister or my grandma.
Yeah.
Or then when we come home from school, me and my sister, we walk to the bus stop. She, you know, takes me in the house, whatever, and then I'm in there with her and my grandma until my brothers get home from daycare or whatever. And this is like a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And then my mom gets back to my grandma's house, and then I see my mom, and then she takes us home, and I'm either with my sister, my grandma, or my mom. So it's like
just constant, you know, at least feminine energy.
Constant, like, feminine energy everywhere. And my sister, she was a tough girl. Like she taught me how to, you know, play all the sports or whatever, or like ride a bike. She taught me pretty much everything, I'd say, you know. So all like the quote unquote guy stuff that you would expect to learn, I learned it all from a girl. So I think that also helped with me like balancing out just like my energies and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like I have this appreciation for women, like that I think not a lot of other guys do, because like I was right there with one, you know, and everything that I was learned or any question I ever had, I asked.
You had someone
I
right
got
there.
it from a woman. You know, so that's it. All just kind of like, and I didn't even realize this until I said it just now. I did not realize any of this, and I'm like, wait. Pretty much my whole life, I was surrounded by women. I mean, my brothers too, of course, but like I'm the oldest boy, you know. So whatever I do, they do. They follow my footsteps. They follow my tracks. So yeah, it's really interesting to think about it now. Like, yeah, it was mostly guys in my house, but we were all led by women, which is actually pretty great, I think. I mean, you definitely need the father figure and stuff, and like that's a whole other conversation, because like my dad was there, but sometimes he wasn't. Sometimes, you know, but the solid foundation was the women.
Yeah, and I think you got, you know, a pretty good like balance of it. It sounds like, you know, with having like these strong like female like this female energy coming through, but at the same time you were also surrounded by guys all the time. Versus us, it was just this male energy all the time, and my uncles would come over too, and like my direct, like, you know, from my dad's brothers and sister, all of their kids. Guess the genders.
Boys.
We have one girl in our direct.
Wow.
So it's like you got, you know, one little family. My dad's brother, we got a boy. Another dad's brother, we got 1, 2, 3 boys, 1 girl. The other one, we got 2 boys. So it's like there's only one girl, like, you know, like playing with us type of thing, you know. I mean, sure, our aunts are around and everything, but again, that machismo culture is coming around, and here are the uncles kind of, you know, talking to them a certain way, and it just that's what you grew up in.
So like, what does that word mean to you though? Like, if you were to like define it with your own words, what does that mean?
I think to me, machismo kind of means like what is expected of you. You know, I think it's what's expected of you in a. This is gonna get a little like racial almost in a way.
Go for it.
But
I said go for it. Yeah, get racial.
Go for it. But I feel like in a way it's what the white man is telling us to do. The white man is telling us that.
Really, the white man? Really?
The white man, yes. Okay. And by the white man, I mean like possibly like the Spanish, because Mexico was you know, colonized by the Spanish, and they came over and they had their way of you know, this is what a man does and this is what a girl does, and so this, you know, now here's this dynamic that we must follow, and I'm not saying that that's exactly what was given to us right away, but it you know, it developed into something a lot more toxic along the way, and even then it could be taken into an even more toxic way, or it could be like, here's this, and like just feeling like, you know, empowered by your masculinity and your femininity. Like there's also that side of it, sure, but
they don't talk about that part a lot.
But very rarely, you know, it's very rarely that you're actually using that. And I think at that point, it's not even necessarily called machismo, because machismo is specifically about men over everything. Right. So it's funky for sure.
Right. So what do you think that like young boys need in order to be like raised in a proper, healthy way?
I'm not a father, but
you're not a father.
I'm not a father. I'm a dog dad, but I'm pretty sure Chance would not be able to tell you anything about that. I feel like balance is the biggest thing, you know, and more so like for any young boy or a young girl, even like just being aware of what's happening inside of you, like with your feelings, you know, is I think what's what a lot of men, maybe even probably nowadays, are still even feeling, like these repercussions of like being told, like even by society, you know, apart from even just like Latino culture, I just mean in general, society tells men that men should be a certain way,
right?
You know, and so if we were told from the beginning, like, you know, but you have feelings and they're valid, you know, like how do you want to express them, you know, like what's going on, tell me what's happening, you know. I think you would at least be able to grow into those feelings and you'd be able to understand them a little bit more, as opposed to later in life, like then being conflicted of like I feel angry but I don't know why, you know, and it's like, well, let's dissect that, and it's like I don't know why I'm angry, I'm just angry, and it's like, well, dang, like that's some deep anger that's in there, you know, for what, I'm not sure, but yeah.
That was my biggest pet peeve growing up, like not being listened to or understood, because one, I was a hyper aware child. Like,
I feel that
there was a lot going on, and like I saw it all, understood it all, and I feel like whenever I spoke, I didn't really feel like I was taken seriously or even considered or just listened to in general. And all that I would have wanted was to be heard, because I never came from a bad place. I always came from a good, loving, happy place. And it was just so frustrating sometimes when you get in trouble for something, or, you know, your parents are at you and you start crying or whatever, and they don't care. And it's like, I don't matter. You know? And I was a kid. I'm like, so you see me sad
and you do nothing.
You don't give a fuck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and cry for 2 hours straight. Throat sore as fuck. But I was like, you don't give a fuck? Well, I'm going to piss you off. I'm just going to annoy you.
Damn.
And I would sit there and cry. Like, ah! And to some point, I was just with me crying. I was like, ah! 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 And it was almost just like, what I was really doing was, I was really just saying, like, acknowledge me. Acknowledge that I'm sad.
Damn.
Acknowledge that I'm hurting.
So what's funny that you're saying that now is that same situation, you know, like I feel like I'm not being heard. But I would go to a place of like almost like it's gonna sound depressing, but like just being depressed from not being heard.
Yeah.
And so I would almost ask myself, like, wait, what's the point of crying? They don't care.
Oh, damn.
What's the point? Which unfortunately then that developed into like a, you know, like a, again, this closed off, hiding my feelings type of situations. Like, oh, but then they're praising it, where it's like, oh, but he never this and this and blah blah. And it's like, yeah, because I don't think anyone cares anyway. So
because it's looked at as being so calm and controlled and put together.
Correct.
And the whole time it's like a whole war going on there, and you can't even express it.
Right.
That's why.
So that's interesting that you say that, because, you know, you get that situation, you could go either way. You could really go into this like like a wah, oh, no one's listening and this doesn't matter, I'm wasting my breath.
Yeah.
You know, or no, I'm gonna keep crying until somebody's listening.
Yeah, I was a rebellious one. I don't think I think I started closing off more when I started to get into high school. And I don't even fully know why, but as I got older, I was still a little bit rebellious, but my rebellion was taken more seriously then, right? Because now I'm in adult form,
right?
And I'm rebelling. So now I look like the bad guy, or I can be painted out to be like a bad person and stuff like that. And so I don't think it always pissed me off, because like, dude, I was so like, the intention in me was always super, super pure.
Yeah.
But it was just like the not understanding me or asking me, or, you know, and it's a lot of dynamics that go into it, because I did come from a family with a lot of kids and shit like that. So it's really hard to give every single kid
what they need.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no, totally, absolutely. I mean, you got 5 boys, and it's like, you know, like I'm sure I feel for my parents at the same time, you know, like the second that they get home from work.
Yeah.
The second that they get home from this long day of like, oh my God, like it's, you know, and my parents also had to deal with like, you know, a little bit of racism in terms of like their English isn't great. You know,
I probably a lot of it.
I downplayed that a little, but it was a lot, you know, and feeling frustrated. I mean, this isn't their home country, you know, and they're trying their best. They're trying to give their kids a better life, and so they're tired. But then they go home. Literally, the second that they open the door, you got 3 crying kids coming to you. He hit me and this blah blah. He stole my blah blah blah. Da, da, da. Yeah. They don't want to hear any of that. So their initial reaction right away, from a tired ass day, is gonna go, you know what? If that's the case, then no one gets to play the game.
Yeah.
You guys can't play with the game, then no one gets to play the game. And I'm saying that right now calmly. It was more of like a hijos de su chingada madre. Entonces nadie, se me callan todos. Nadie va a jugar con todo. Todos cállense. It was like,
I don't know what you said, but I felt it.
You know what? And that's exactly it. It was just like a matter of like, fuck all of y'all. No one gets this dumbass game that I spent my money on for y'all to fight on. Like,
have you seen that meme? And it's like, the older I get, the more I understand why my mom went in her room and closed the door.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Like, low key, I get it.
Hell
yeah. I honestly, I do get it, because my mom, she, for most of my, like, growing up, she was a CTA bus driver. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't even just driving, like, on the nice parts. She was, like, in the trenches, like, driving that bus. And, like, it was people, like, harassing her. And, like, she
was around people all the time.
12-hour shifts, just all day, all types of shit, just to take care of us, right? And for me, I'd always get a little upset, because as soon as she would come home, she would be like, because I wouldn't see her in the morning, because she'd get up at like 5 a.m. before I even like woke up.
For sure.
She's up, out the door. By the time she gets home in the middle of the night, I'm just like, hey, she's here. Kind of happy to see her and shit like that. And then she just like take a deep breath, drop her shit, and then just like walk into the bathroom. And then like you wait on her to come out the bathroom, and you're like, all right, it's me now. I'm here. Hey, it's me.
She's in there for like half an hour.
And then she's like, okay, look. Okay, and then she go just lay down and close the door, and I'm like,
yeah,
fuck, do you hate me or something?
Yeah,
like, God, what did I do to you?
Right,
I
mean, you're a kid, you know, what are you supposed to think?
The whole time she had a shitty day.
Right.
Shitty ass day.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel that. I feel that wholeheartedly. This is no shade on parents right now,
at all.
But then did you have to have kids?
True. That's another thing that I always, because that was my go-to as a kid. Mm-hmm. It was always, nobody asked you to bring me here.
Right.
That was my go-to for everything.
Right.
So even when it was to the point where she would like, you know, and this, I ain't trying to like disrespect my mom or like talk down on her, because like we're besties. You know what I'm saying? But like, even when it got to the point where she was like, you know, all parents say stuff, you can get the fuck out of my house. Yeah. They hit you with that one.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not going nowhere. Mm-hmm. That was me. I'm like, I'm not leaving. You gonna have to pick me up and drag me out of this one. Because you know why? I ain't asked you to bring me here in the first place. Right. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sit my ass right here. And that was my always like my go-to, because it's just like literally in my head, just being logical, not even thinking about like the emotional part of anything.
Right.
Just the logic. For me, it was like, you had a kid, you take care of said kid.
Right.
You don't get to complain.
Right.
When in actuality, it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Right.
Because
it has its nuances.
Yeah.
For sure.
A lot of pregnancies aren't planned.
Right.
I don't think that I was planned.
Right.
And then also, when you have a kid, you don't know what that kid brings, what that kid requires.
Right.
My mom was 26 when she had me. Mm-hmm. That's a year younger than I am right now. Like, kind of still a kid. You know what I'm saying? So to expect so much knowledge and just understanding from her, it's like, you can't be too hard on her.
No, for sure. There's definitely a, you know, and at the end of the day, I mean, hey, we came out okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But, again, not trying to, like, you know, throw any disrespect on her. I feel like, it's going to sound crazy, I feel like I'm good because of me.
No, I feel the same way. I do. Listen, y'all did a lot, but like I did a lot for myself too. I did a lot of the work too. I was there for it. Were you? No disrespect.
Mama, I love you, but no, like.
I feel that.
I hit the ground like
Yep.
I did the work, so I can't give her all the credit for that one. But again, could have been worse. Could have been way worse.
And I think we're lucky, enough to say that because there's definitely a lot of relationships with parents, that they're very severed, and I have people in my life that I know that that's the case for them, and it's just like a matter of like, I may have had my struggles and everything, but I still think like I have a very beautiful relationship with my family.
Yeah.
Tethered or not, and there are some that are just so severe where it's like no, like I don't that's not the case for me, like I don't find happiness in seeing them. I don't, like it hurt me too much, as a kid. And so I'm grateful that that's not the case for me, but at the same time, like I have to acknowledge that I'm very lucky that that's the case, and that others may not have that exact same situation.
Yeah, it's like I 100% I get both sides, and that's kind of where I was on like my dad's side when it came to him. And like growing up, me and him were like tight, best, like super tight.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, the more him and my mom fell out, it almost was like he not treated us the same way he treated her, but like if he was not around her, he wasn't around me. So if they weren't together, then me and him weren't together.
Yeah,
really, and then so it built up this resentment in me a little bit. And then as I got older in my adult years, like I would go back and forth with like, all right, well, do I be cool with him again? And then like if I didn't feel like he was at all my baseball games, if that makes sense, like then I'm like, all right, he don't really give a fuck, let me move on,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like he passed away earlier this year, but right before that, me and him were like good place.
Yeah.
It was going well, and honestly, I wish that I could have gotten more of that, and I wish I could have put myself in the place that I was in when I started to rebuild that with him. I wish I could have did that a little earlier, but the thing is, I'm very, very grateful that I still got to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like, had he passed away and me and him not been on good terms or not spoken in a while or like not seen each other, like that would have really done a lot of damage to me, because I'm just in a place where like I don't want to hold grudges.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm a big Will Smith fan, and in his book he talks about like his relationship with his dad and how like the passing of his dad was the most beautiful thing ever, and it was kind of like his dad was abusive to his family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when he passed away, they knew that he was going to pass. So they got to mend the relationships, and they had time. And they actually got more time than they were expecting. So they got to like beautifully like mend the relationship and then say goodbye to him and
on good
like,
terms and feel good about
it. And feel good about it. And I kind of feel like I got the same situation, but I didn't, because I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
But leading up to his passing, like the relationship was being mended, it was being fixed, and the only reason I got to see him the last time before he passed was because I got into a almost fatal accident.
Car accident. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I always tell people I'm so grateful for it, because it's like I literally, not even just that, I got so much more from that experience, just like learning what, like I just learned so many lessons, but even just that, like I got to sit down with my dad one last time 2 weeks before he passed away.
Wow.
And some people don't get that, He didn't even live in the state. He was in like Kentucky or something like that. And he drove up.
And you still saw him.
To see me. And he came in.
Somehow those paths still crossed. That's insane.
Sat down with me 2 weeks before. and I barely remember the conversation because I was on so many like drugs and stuff like that. But like, I do remember like it was just a nice, easy. It wasn't like getting to know each other. It didn't feel like one of those. It was just like we was just sitting there hanging out like we always would and just like chatting it up. So for that, man, I am so grateful.
Yeah.
Like and then I was the last one of his kids to see him.
Wow.
Like no one else saw him.
Wow.
Like the last time they had any of my siblings that saw him was like the previous August at like a family picnic, and then I saw him in February right before he passed. And so I was the last one to see him, and like even that is like a gift almost.
Yeah.
It's like
no, for sure.
Yeah, it's super interesting, but I'm so grateful for him, and I feel like I'm even closer to him now than I was before, and it's really interesting. But yeah, like you kind of gotta, if you can, try to mend those relationships with your parents if you can, if it's worth mending. And I know
if it's worth, right?
Yeah, some aren't worth mending because some people are bad people, but if you can see the good in them, or if you could try to at least see what they experience or see their side of life at all, I say do. I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know,
if you can, you know, it's definitely impossible, I think, to some degree for some.
Yeah.
And like totally respect that, but but I mean, no, there's so many layers, you know, to like these relationships with like family and then like outside of family too. Like it's funny that you mentioned all that because I recently had, I feel like in the past 2 years, maybe 3 years, like we've just had this string of like passings, and like a couple of them have been like people in Mexico. So like I'm sure a lot of like immigrant communities feel this pain of like, oh dang, my aunt passed away. I never really knew her though.
Yeah.
But it's like, so like I'm mourning, but mourning who?
So do you really mourn though, or are you just like?
It's a struggle. It's a weird like it's a really weird like. For example, like my aunt who just passed away, like not like about a month ago or so, maybe less. That's my mom's sister, you know. So like I feel this deep pain for my mom for losing a sister that she can't even go see right now. But at the same time, like I got to see this sister when I went to Mexico in March, so I saw her.
Oh, so you did get to experience.
I saw her, but she was already very sickly. So like it was like, you know, I got to meet her, you know, but did I know her? Like, no, you know, and now it's like, now she's gone, and it's like, you know, you won't really get that opportunity, you know. Did you have that opportunity? And I think that was a big struggle for me too, knowing that like most of my grandparents were in Mexico, and like always feeling like I should connect with them more, you know. Like there's actually nothing wrong there. Like I don't have like a tethered relationship with either of them, but it's just a matter of like we're just not in the same country. So like that's you know, I mean, sure, phones work, and that's always an excuse that I tell myself, like, well, I can always pick up a phone and talk to her, you know. But in a way, like that's never really been the case even growing up. So it's like I didn't really pick up on that as an adult because I never really had that even as a child. Right. So like, what was there to pick up on? You know, like, oh, go talk to your grandma. And it's like, why? I've never done that, or I never do that. You know, like, you know, or I have this beautiful relationship, but at the same time, like, made of what? You know, I don't know. It's a strange like immigrant struggle in that sense. But yeah, no, to see that you know dynamic of like being able to connect to somebody like before they're gone, and then having that same, you know, dynamic of like someone's gone and like you never really got to know them to begin with. Like it's very interesting.
You know what's crazy? Like, so my mom, I feel like we have kind of similar situations when it comes to that, because I come from a huge family, and like a lot of my family are in the South as well. Not in a different country, but it's in a different state. Not in a different country.
You're like in the South. I'm like, damn.
Africa,
like...
no. They're in a different state. So a lot of the times, like, I call my mom a part of the funeral committee, because like she's at everybody's funeral. Somebody dead, you can bet that she's gonna be at the funeral. There. Like I think she kind of likes it though. I don't even know. Like it's to that point. It's like another funeral. Who was it this time? Oh, my great aunts, cousins, brothers, sisters. And I'm like, all right, do you want to come? I'm good. No, I'm okay. Yeah. And it's wild because like she'll go to these funerals and be like bawling, like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So it's like for me when I'm hearing about, oh, you just lost a great uncle, I'm like, did I know him? And she was like, you probably seen him one time at the barbecue. And I was like, I'm not going.
Right.
Because for me, I feel like that's a deep thing to like mourn people and shit like that. You know, and if I don't really know you, one, I don't want to see your body like that because I don't want to see your body like that. And then two, that's a lot of energy. You know?
Yeah, no, it feels intrusive almost. You know, like my energy is not needed, so why is it there?
Yeah.
You know?
I try to avoid funerals at all costs, unless it's like a close person. Like if I really spent time with you, I really fully knew you. You know, then I'll go. But if I saw you at church one time,
probably not.
So, R.I.P. Like I'm sorry. You know, it's one
R.I.P.
of
sorry.
Sorry. Like I don't want to. You know, put myself through that.
So safe to say you're going to mine.
I'll stop by. Yeah, I'll pop in. You know, check it out.
You
know.
better dance. I need you to do a whole dance number.
Hey, if you want a praise dance, I got you. Like that's a whole thing. I used to do praise dances a lot.
Really?
Back in the day. Yeah. Don't want to talk about it, but definitely was a praise dance guy. But I kind of want to switch the focus because that was kind of dark.
It was
a little dark.
It
for
definitely,
a minute.
It pivoted over to a certain space.
Got kind of scary for a hot second.
All good.
You are a dance teacher.
Yes, I am.
And you teach a lot.
I teach a lot. I really do.
How is my question. And the reason I ask you how is because, one, dance teachers aren't just dance teachers. I feel like dance teachers are mentors. They can be parents sometimes.
Right.
They can, be tutors sometimes. They're a lot. Mm-hmm. And you're a lot to a lot of different kids. Me personally, I'm not in the space for that right now.
I feel that.
But you are.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it? Why did you do it?
I've been teaching since I was 15 years old. Quinceañeras, I have. So, and I think I'm a as good of a teacher that I am now from all the experiences that I had, mm-hmm. Growing up and whether that means that I started way too early, which I feel like I probably did. Mm-hmm. I kind of, again, grew up really quickly, and I was able to say, no, this is what I got to do to get through this responsibility that I put myself through, but definitely I teach at 2 different studios, mm-hmm. and
they're not close to you at all.
No, I don't know why I did that to myself. But one,
up the street, like
DLD is an hour away from me. If I'm lucky, 45 minutes. No traffic.
Yeah.
And then the other studio, CG Pack, is a half hour away from me. But it's really close to the hospital that I work at. So it's like a 5-minute drive from the hospital, which to me that was like, it made sense. Like, oh yeah, I got to be there. But yeah, it's like it's very interesting to have that many children in your life. And like there's so many different personalities of children, and to a certain extent where like people are like, when are you gonna have kids? And I'm like, why would I want kids?
You got about 50 of them.
I have over 100 kids a week. Like I've got plenty.
Yeah.
I got plenty. Honestly, like for the longest time, it wasn't until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, like I was feeling heavy burnout from teaching, because there's only so much that you can do. I hold hip hop in a really special place in my heart, hip hop and reggaeton and just like that culture in general. Like it's very special to me. So to give that to somebody, specifically like to give that sometimes to white children, can feel a little like disingenuous, or it can feel a little like here's something really special to me, and then they just kind of like pick it up and look at it and just kind of like, yeah, it's cute, and it's like, what do you mean, like that's really special to me, so it can be a little hard sometimes. And I think I felt that to some degree going into these spaces, and I was feeling really burnt out, I think, from teaching a lot, and I think I had to feed my soul a little bit myself, which is when for a while I was also a part of the Chicago dance community with Ascension Performing Arts, they're no longer around. So after that, I kind of like didn't really dance as much in the community. But now, I think, what was it? Maybe 2020 maybe. I'm not entirely sure. Like right around like when pandemic stuff started to like die down a little bit, I decided to audition for Coda.
Shout out Coda.
Shout out Coda. And I've been knowing of Coda ever since I started dancing. You know, like it was on my vision board for the longest time to be a part of Coda for the longest time, and I really just needed a push to really get me there. Not that I ever felt like I wasn't like enough or anything, but it was just one of those where it's like, it's in the city. You know, I don't dance that much out there. Do people know me? Are people gonna like me? Like it was a lot going into it. And so I danced in the suburbs for a while, and that's how I came into contact with you, right? Too with DLD.
Yep. Hi, how
shout
are you?
out. And so eventually, even DLD, like the professional company that was there, that died down a little bit. And I remember specifically thinking like, hey, yo, like I want to do something for myself, like that. And I asked Peyton if she would go audition. She would go audition for Coda with me. Yeah. And she did. We went in and we both did our thing, and they hit us with the schedules, only for me to realize that I can't even be at the rehearsals anyway. So then they were like, oh yeah, no, we won't be taking you this season. And me, I was like, thank you guys so much. Like I appreciate it. I'll work on whatever I need to work on for next time. And they were like, no, you made the team, but you can't be here because you teach so much.
Yeah.
You have something else going on, and for me it was my teaching. So I was like, okay, but I want to do this. So like I'm going to actually go in here and switch up my schedule so that I can feed myself, And right now that feels like Coda is doing that for me.
Yeah, that's good, because like, you got to take your life back sometimes. And if you're not feeding, like you said, like if you're not really feeding yourself, it kind of like makes the passion for what you're doing go away a little bit.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. To do it so much, and at the end of the day, like, I mean, dance is dance, and there are going to be students that I have that really love and they have this passion for it the way that I do. And there are others that are just not. They don't give a fuck. They just go to dance class, and they kind of just want to have fun. Yeah. But regardless of that, I have to go in and find a way to not drain myself from either. The kid that's really super passionate, like, they're not going to drain me. I know we're going to feed off of each other. We're going to, whatever. But how do I go into a space where maybe that kid isn't and they just kind of want to have fun, like, then I can still go in there and teach them dance, just not the same way that I teach this other really super passionate kid about dance. I can still go in there and have fun with these kids. And I've learned that I can still like make a difference in their life by being like this figure for them that just wants to have fun, and still kind of teaching them dance at the same time. It's just not going to be the same as this other kid, and that's okay. Right. I've definitely learned to switch it up, by studio, by student, by class even, it's definitely a little bit of like okay, I got to switch it up a little bit here, switch it up a little bit here. But still trying to figure out, like, I also don't want to be like disingenuous at any point. Like, I want these to still be me. So like, I'm gonna just switch up what I need to still be me, but like to not drain myself in the process.
Right. And I think that's what I found myself finding when I was teaching kids, or when I do sometimes still teach kids when I sub and stuff like that. Because I subbed for a friend earlier this week at a studio, and I taught like from little babies to like high school kids. And I find that when I teach the younger kids, it feels a lot less genuine. It feels way less, because I'm like pretending to be Barney pretty much. Hi, how are? Can you do this? Like, that's not me at all. I can't find myself in that at all. So my patience has to really be there. Yeah. And then as they get a little bit older, I can be more real with them. So as they, as the older kids come in, I'm like, okay, this is a little bit more relaxed. I don't have to be so uptight, but I still got to kind of be tight for them. They're still young. Right. Or I can let go a little bit more with the high school students. And
I feel that.
Right now, I would be comfortable with teaching high school, because they get it a little bit more. And I can, if I'm not like smiling and stuff, they won't take offense to it. Right. I can just have a straight face, and like they'll be like, ah ha ha, and joke around. They'll get the personality, catch social cues a little bit more. But with babies,
it can be hard.
Yeah, no, not for me. I ain't doing it.
I feel it. I don't teach too many young ones. Like I think my youngest are like maybe 9. But even then, I mean, again, it's just every kid's a challenge, but every kid they just want to have fun. And I'm trying to find the way to like get on their level while not being this caricature of myself, because like then that's draining, and then it just feels like, man, like who was that? Because that was not me.
I tell you, when I was teaching I think I taught maybe for a whole year and a half straight.
Oh my God.
And it's not even that much. But like the drainage.
A lot can happen in a year and a half. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Like dreaded it. And by the last class where I was teaching like 4 classes. By the time I got to the older kids, I didn't even have energy for them. And it was like, these are the ones that I really wanted to be here for. That I wanted
to have the energy for. Yeah.
I can't even really go full out, or I can't really connect all the way because I'm tired,
I feel that.
If I were to teach, I would have to work something out where I'm not teaching the younger ones and only teaching the ones that get it. Yeah.
No, and I get that. It's a struggle, but I've definitely found a lot of really cool benefits from teaching children. Do I do it too much? Yes, and I think I should cut back on it a little bit for my own sanity.
Maybe,
but yeah.
So what are some of these benefits?
Connecting with these kids. I think is really it's really cool to see like what the future of America is doing. Because these kids at the end of the day, they're gonna be, at some point they're gonna vote for things that may even affect me or you or anybody else. And it's just cool to be a part of their lives, even because I mean, at the end of the day, and I think this is something that I heard, I don't remember where, but like kids, especially now with like after the pandemic, going back into school, going back into everything, like they crave connection so much. Parents are busier now more than ever because they want their kids to go out and do things. They want to, they're working now, they're working back at their places, maybe not from home as much, or they're not seeing their kids anymore as much. And in a way, something similar that happened to us, where like we just wanted to connect with our parents the second that they came home. They're longing for connection somewhere as well, and when, I'm not saying that these parents aren't doing that, they could be, but here's an opportunity to also connect with a child as a teacher,
Right.
Because I mean, sometimes I hear stories about them even going to school and it's like, yeah, my teacher hates me, or this or that, or or blah blah blah, and it's like, I mean, why are they teachers? I mean, I get it, I get it, kids are a lot, but you got to make it work for you, and right now that's what I'm doing, or at least I'm trying to do. And if that means that I have to go feed myself, and be a part of something that helps me so that then I can help them, then great. Instead of maybe becoming bitter about it.
Like the very generic saying, like, you got to be there for yourself to be there for everybody else, ties right back into it.
So much.
Same exact thing.
So much, absolutely.
And if you're a dancer and dance is your passion, and you really ain't even dancing, like you really just giving, but you're not getting.
Yeah. And that was a lot of it.
Fun.
That was a lot of it, and that's where I feel like right now, like I'm literally giving myself back. I'm giving back to myself, I should say, so that I have enough to actually give to these kids.
We love to see it. I remember that.
Thank you.
All right, Christian. Before we go, I want to play my rapid fire question game with you.
Oh, God.
This is where I ask my guests 3 questions.
Okay.
Now, they're technically not rapid fire, but for the name of the game, these are our rapid fire questions.
I love a good name.
Yeah, so you could definitely give a little elaboration if you need to, but 3 questions. All right, first one. What is your least favorite food and why?
Least favorite food, I'd say probably, like, I don't want to say clams, but...
Clams.
No, actually, you know what? Oh, this is going to suck, but okay. There's a Mexican dish called menudo. People go and light me up for this, but menudo, it's really good. It's good. But it is, it's stomach lining.
Stomach lining.
Stomach lining.
Of
soup.
what?
Yes.
Of who? Whose stomach?
You ever heard of Jeffrey Dahmer? I'm just kidding. No.
No, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's cow. Cow stomach lining, and they clean it really well, really well. And it's a soup, and it's that, but it's very porous. Like the meat of it, it's very porous, so it's just tiny little holes, and it's white, and it very slimy.
I agree with you. You ever had chitlins before?
No.
You heard of them?
Yes, but
sounds the same shit.
Okay.
Same. Stinks. Nasty.
There you go.
Don't eat it.
But menudo apparently really helps out with hangovers.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, let's go. I'll do the broth. You can keep the meat.
Just suck down some of the what's it called, menudos. Menudo stomach lining. All right, if you were an alcoholic drink, what would you be and why?
I would probably be a paloma. Either like a paloma. Paloma is squirt. You know squirt?
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah, I know squirt.
You know squirt? Yeah, I know squirt.
Yeah, I know squirt.
Grapefruit soda, a little bit of grapefruit juice, tequila, and a little kick, you know, or maybe like really just anything with tequila in it. I think.
So is a paloma like one of like the martini drinks?
No.
What is it?
No, it's just a
club drink,
a cocktail. Yeah.
Cocktail classy.
Cocktail classy. I mean, I don't know if every bar is gonna. Can I get a paloma? They're gonna be like, who?
I feel like I've heard the name before, but I drink, but like when it comes to like, you ever had I don't know. I mean,
it's basically a tequila Sprite, but with squirt.
Tequila squirt. Yummy. And this is the infamous, famous last question.
Okay.
What is your go-to song that puts you in your feels? I love this question.
Damn. I think my go-to song that puts me in my feels would probably be Media Luna by Camilo. It's a Spanish song, as you can.
Yeah,
It's in Spanish. It's by an artist. His name is Camilo, and it's basically a song that he wrote to his now wife, but it was when they were dating. And it's basically a half moon. It's what it signifies. I don't know what it means to him, but basically the song is really beautiful, and I think it gets me in my feels. It reminds me of my partner, the beautiful Karen. So
that was beautiful.
Thanks.
What's the vibes? Is it like a ballad?
It's a ballad. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's a ballad.
Hope she sees this. Great. All right, Christian. Well, that was a fun game. Thank you so much for stopping by the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Really, really, really appreciate you and the conversation.
Thank you.
We went there today.
We really did.
We went all the way there. Before you go, do you have anything to plug or anything that you want to keep people, aware of?
Yeah. My Amazon wish list. Follow. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No. Maybe like I don't know. My Instagram handle is Christian Leo Sosa. Follow me for more crazy antics, and I don't know what else to plug.
I forgot to tell you this, but you need to get back on TikTok. He's an aesthetic boy. It's
a lot of work. Like at some point I thought maybe I could be like a men's blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
It is, but you do a great job at it.
Thanks.
You had all the vibes that I was trying to go for. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe if I get rid of some of these kids, I'll do some more things for myself, feeding myself, like I said.
Feed yourself.
So we'll see.
Hop on the TikTok.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I really appreciate you guys. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Ron_Amos_. Follow Christian. Follow the show on TikTok. We post clips on the TikTok. Well, I say we, it's me. I post clips on TikTok. And that's all. So I will see you guys next week with an all-new episode.
Thank you.
Bye.